Hello and welcome back to the Overwatch World Cup 2019. You were expecting Uber and Matt, and instead...
You've got a delightful little surprise.
Yeah, it's us instead. We're giving them a little break. I think that rhymed, unintentionally.
Well, you're a poet and you didn't even realize.
There you go. You are terrible. Actually a terrible human being. But we're going to be heading into a match that most people would think wouldn't be particularly great.
No.
On paper.
Yes.
However...
Except
Little Birdie told us while we were casting the old Russia-Denmark match that South Korea have just lost to France 2-1.
They just lost to France
so
2-1? And I looked at some of the comments and they were like, apparently they were trolling.
They were trolling, apparently. Okay. Well, either they're going to get disqualified from the World Cup or France are a super team. But we'll see if they continue to troll against Sweden now.
Well, I don't even know what that means. Was South Korea just running really weird compositions? Were they not trying?
Who knows?
I guess we get to have our take on it.
Find out, if you will.
Yeah, come join us. I mean, some of you will already have watched that game, but perhaps some of you are joining us fresh, as we are, from different parts of the bracket. Impossible, of course, to watch all of the matches that are happening in real time, but we'll give you our best interpretation.
Yes, and as we roll out, you can see both teams running mirror compositions, if you will. The Reaper Doomfist coming out. Architect going to be stunned up here. Do you see another initiation coming out from him as well as he seismic slams his way into the back line? A lot of damage being pumped into them now. Troy Hoban using the kinetic grass to try and gain a bit of ground. And Sweden will just be absolutely mulched in the process. South Korea, they don't feel like they're trolling.
Well, they certainly don't on that first team fight. Mano backed off a little bit and Choyobin took a really nice off angle. Huge amount of damage pumped in on the sides, and that set up Architect. The Doomfist and the Sigma should, generally speaking, be playing alongside each other on a lot of these off angles. Architect straight into the back, stuns everyone up.
Yep, he gets initiated onto hold!
Oh!
To the meteor strike. 3 kills, make it 4, make it 5. It just makes me recount the plays as Architect will absolutely solidify for his team, but the subtle carry, of course, being Mano, the one who orchestrated that entire play using his ult.
Yeah, but Architect needed to do the damage in order to have his ult up in the first place, and that's how you keep the momentum rolling against teams like this. Sweden have a coalescence to be able to push with, but Osin about to get his as well.
Yeah, they're most likely going to be trading this one out. Carpe falling low. Healed back up to full HP, going to be signed to try and trade up with the shotguns. Mano ends up getting the better here as he brings down Lulsish, and it's instantly, once again, going to be another one-team fight here for South Korea. Now, I am perplexed as to how South Korea lost. Now, are France secretly good?
I mean, they got 3-0'd by USA, as did Sweden, I believe. So
interesting.
Both of these teams just getting rolled by what we thought was a top 3 team in the United States, and then France managing to find a win over South Korea. It will continue to puzzle us
as they try and initiate back into this fight. Carpe using the Death Blossom now, gets 1 kill off the back of it. The Supercharger will assist him in regards to that. Sweden are going to be using their sound barrier. The Gravitic Flux now to answer, and the Meteor Strike in the backline. Architect, he has free reign over the enemy team, and Sweden are sent straight to the back of the respawn queue. This has been highly one-sided.
Yep, absolutely dominant, and Architect the playmaker in a lot of these situations, but he's not rushing things, he's not overly aggressive. The patience with that Meteor Strike was perfect, to be able to come down when the rest of his team was fully healed, and now final fight territory.
Dosen using the Coalescence. I believe a couple of members of the team were falling quite low. The Gravitic Flux sent down. This is the opening that Sweden were looking for. The Meteor Strike doesn't find that much value. Architect going for the off angles. Look at that uppercut, the value. Unreal damage being pumped into them. Goes for the punch, doesn't connect against the wall, but he doesn't have to push them backwards now. We see the fortify being committed by Mano as he just tailgates out of there. And Architect, ready and waiting, will peel for the rest of his team, and it's going to be looking like the 100-0 for South Korea. An expected outcome, if I do say so myself. However, I do want to say, I'm just curious about our France match, because how did that even come about?
Should we just go rewatch that game?
Feels like it, yeah. Yeah.
Well, we'll see if Sweden can come back into this one as well. I know that Jonathan Reinforce Larsen will be waiting with bated breath to see if they can outperform his incredible performance last year at the World Cup.
On the big stage right now as they're paying attention to absolutely everything. In fact, I believe we're being tuned into right now. So, Jonathan,
we believe in you.
Look away, look away, look away. It's not safe. It's not safe for your eyes.
We went different directions there, of course.
The poor Swedish lad, he doesn't want to see this.
Well, let's take a look at the composition that South Korea look like they're rolling out with. They have the Orisa with the Roadhog, so Halt Hook potential, but also Pharah alongside the Widowmaker, making use of the individual talent that is on their team, but with a composition that can get countered fairly heavily by double shield.
And why not? They're going to see if they can make it work. Architect going to be slamming in the rockets from on high. See if he can get some early damage, some early picks. The hold, the hook. Choi Hyobin and Mano come up clutch just when they need to. And Choi Hyobin, this is why this guy was the MVP of the Grand Finals of the Overwatch League this year. Plays like this, being able to flex over to so many different roles, and that one pick is exactly what they needed. And despite that, Sweden still continue to try and fight this, but it is futile at the end of the day to try and go against South Korea, the team that's trying to make it 4 years in a row.
The fact that the Halt hooks are such a large potential for South Korea means that Elevote has to play much closer to Mano, because that shield needs to be there if he gets Halt hooked. Or has to play much closer to Lulcich, because if Lulcich gets Halt hooked, Elevote has to be there with his shield. But Elevote has to also worry about blocking off sightlines of Architect and Carpe. So all of this comes down to Elevote really, and how he positions his shield, and whether he goes on off angles or whether he sticks close to his Orisa.
Well, Lulcich goes down again. Halt hooked. Out of the fight, and I mean, I don't want to say it, but again, Orisa literally has an ability built in to prevent a lot of this crowd control affecting it.
Yep.
Mano,
you need to save your fortifies.
You need to save your fortifies for the halts, because otherwise you're going to get picked time and time and time again. South Korea still in a very dominant position with this defense. Architect with a barrage available. You can be a damage boost, of course, slapped on top of that to see if they can get any value out of it. However, Sweden on the other side, they do have a coalescence to work with now.
Oh, the hack, though, and that's going to drop Architect like a stone from high. He watches.
If he survives that.
How does he win a 1v1 at close range against Snillo?
Whilst hacked up, and now the barrage comes out. Doesn't manage to get a kill, but the damage is already done, and it allows Choi Hyobin to clean up. Couple of simple shots from his scrap gun, and he's going to be able to clean up the rest of these kills. And South Korea now still holding on. They are 75% and counting. Sweden have not won a team fight.
No, and Erky got value there out of his Sombra. He switched over a couple of team fights ago, and he's looking for hacks on the Pharah Mercy. But he found them there, and he managed even to kill the Mercy. But Architect did not go down. And if he's getting the hacks, his team has to be there to follow up.
Now, Mano used a supercharger very early there. Sweden intelligently backed off, but Carpe is in a prime position to do exactly what he was made to do. He's being contested in the upside there by the Lucio. It's your worst case scenario. He's still alive, but meanwhile on the point, Nanabu's going to be used here onto Troy. He's going to get hacked out of his ultimate, cancelled out, and now we see this is Sweden's last chance. Lulcich goes down. Supercharger still available on the point. We see the sound barrier being committed by Sweden in the nick of time, but is it good enough? I don't think so. The Ultimates and South Korea are far too strong. This is your 3-time world champions here at the end of the day, and they're going to take map number 1 against Sweden in one of the most dominant fashions I've seen so far.
Yeah, that really was crushing for South Korea. Very, very strong performance from them. That's honestly what was expected, though. You've got to look at that kind of map that we've seen so far and say, that's the South Korea that we were expecting to see in the World Cup. We thought perhaps there were only 2 teams that would really be able to contest them. The United States and the United Kingdom. No, it's China. It's just China was the other team.
Yeah. I like to believe that it's the United Kingdom.
Oh, maybe.
They almost did us, actually, if you catch their game earlier.
Yes.
No spoilers, but they lost. So
well, that is literally a spoiler.
But they was very close, so you should watch it anyway.
The first map was very close.
First map was very close. The rest of them not so much.
They angered South Korea.
I believe Johnny is crying on stage.
I could certainly see it, but there's still time for Sweden to get back into this match.
Yeah,
they look outclassed at the moment, but if South Korea are flexing around a little bit, trying to show different looks, maybe put other teams off, because
why not?
Against a team like France or Sweden, you can play suboptimal compositions, and you can try and force teams like the USA to prep against weird stuff. Waste time prepping against weird comps from South Korea.
You're trying to imply that they're weaker teams than South Korea?
I'm trying to imply that South Korea is the greatest team of all time that we have ever seen, just the mecca of esports.
Yes. Pinnacle.
Dominates the Overwatch League.
3 times back-to-back world champions of the Overwatch World Cup. Potentially 4th if this plays out.
Yes, the obvious favorites for this tournament. Nobody would be betting against them. There are teams that you would say have big upset potential. A lot of faith and hope around Team USA this year, especially after the San Francisco Shock was able to win the Overwatch League. But odds-on favorites are always going to be South Korea.
Sure, absolutely. Now, the next map we're going to be heading into is, have a guess.
Why do you want me to guess?
Because it's fun.
I'm going to guess Paris.
No, there's no assault maps being played, so it's not Paris.
What about Horizon?
There's no assault maps being played, so it's not Horizon.
Anubis.
Matt's over there. I'll get him to replace you. Matt, Mr. X is right here. I will literally get him to replace you right now.
No.
Come in here.
No.
Take this headset
Get
off
away.
him. He won't answer my question.
Get away.
Take the headset off him. All right, Matt, jump in. Come on.
Yeah.
So we're in the middle of the game.
This actually looks like a better duo. I mean, we've just leveled up the looks.
And this is it,
100.
you know. Yeah, you always tell me.
Wait, where is Josh going? I mean, I don't want to. I don't want to be your forever.
You're replacing. Okay.
So what match are you guys in right now?
We're looking at the moment at USA Sweden. Now, Matt, tell me what on earth. No, sorry, South Korea Sweden.
Oh, okay.
Can you tell me what on earth happened previously?
As the expert here, in the last match, what we saw happen. So South Korea in the last match we saw, they refused to play. They played no Doomfist.
Okay.
No
For the
Reaper.
entire match.
For very little Doomfist. They played no Doomfist, no Reaper. They did not play Lucio or Moira at all. And then they played absolutely no Orisa Sigma.
Composition's a little like we're seeing at the moment then, with Sigma, Hog, Brigitte.
I could not agree more, Josh. Yeah, and as we head into this match here, it's as Matt was saying, all about the Moiras.
Well, these are the kind of compositions that they saw previously in that map. Although, making some slight adjustments now, running double sniper. This is the meta that dominated the 2018 playoffs of the Overwatch League.
Haxel coming in on the far. Change of pace now for South Korea as they're looking to try and pressure a lot of these angles. Now, Kings Row, classic hands-on map.
Lolsish has been slept as Bionade.
Bionade as well. The Team Sweden tank line is in ruins. They back off. They manage to put a little bit of pressure onto South Korea, forcing them away. And now you see them. Architect, though, great aggression by Sweden, capitalizing on the fact that they were backing off slightly with this composition. It requires a bit of space. Sweden getting right up in their faces.
And Haxel has been subbed in here over Carpe. So Haxel on the Pharah, we know him to be incredibly capable. He's as good as Architect, if not a little better. And he's raining in rockets from above, putting out so much damage here and hasn't been punished yet. That rock, optimistic, just misses. He replies with a barrage.
Oh, and Haxel, he catches Lolsish from behind when he wasn't expecting it. Huge Bionade once again from Badosin as well is going to force a lot of the players of Sweden backwards out of this fight. And as they try and recontest now, on the right-hand flank, it's not really going to be working for them. Haxel has got so many picks with his team. 3 kills. Can he get a 4th? The answer is no. But nonetheless, South Korea do win.
You seem to have an obsession with seeing if you can count how many kills people get.
Yeah, I learned how to count very late in the development of my brain.
Really?
Yeah, so it's a casual reminder to myself.
Right.
Just not to mess up. And
how old were you when you learned to count to 10?
I think I was like 8.
Well, just in time then, as long as it wasn't when you were 11.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
South Korea is still running these unconventional compositions, at least on King's Row so far. Quite a bit of damage and a Sonic Arrow comes in.
Holds a lot of pressure. Haxel from up above. Accreted, taken out as Sniller will remove him away from the fight now. You can see these Bionades from Badosin have been enormous. Lolch is taken out, he couldn't be healed. He was hit, again, the target of it. Gustav moves his way around inside the building, going to be using the boop to try and take out Architect. He will succeed. Still winnable right now for Sweden. They're going to be committing the Gravitic Flux. See if they can do any more damage to him. Choi Hyobin is going to get the breather, healed back up, but will fall in the end. And the Dragon used here by Architect.
From Spawn!
Probably a switch, I should hope so. Otherwise, I will be investigating him. We're trying to make some plays happen when they weren't really able to.
Why was it not combo with a halt? And why was Architect dragging in from Spawn? That wasn't a particularly winnable fight, but they did bring down Urki, which means that Sweden have to back it up. But instead, they're going in. They get barraged immediately.
Away. Haxel comes back in, and he's got the damage boost necessary to get 2 kills, 3 kills, 4 kills.
Can he get the 6th?
No.
Well, there you go.
I just really like counting, you know. It's a favorite pastime.
3.5 minutes still available here for Team South Korea as they come forward. They've got the nano boost available. That's going to allow Haxel, just by the way that South Korea have been playing, I imagine that ult will be used onto Haxel just to allow him to play even more aggressively. He's their main source of damage. Architect looking for picks.
Well, Meteor Strike from Urki. No value being found from it, but Osen walks straight into it. Wonders the seismic slam will not get any value as Haxel will put an end to him. Haxel being pressured here now by Snillo. Snillo forced to Wraith Walk away to the back lines. The Coalescence just about fades. As Epps now is going to be going to the end of it now. Clearing South Korea away. They back off, choose to disengage.
Sweden have been forced to switch over to this Wrecking Ball composition though, because Lulsish wasn't sure he would get back to the payload in time. So with 2.5 minutes left for South Korea, they have an opportunity. But also, the Wrecking Ball isn't so bad against players like the Hanzo and the Ana. Nice halt though. Halt into a direct hit does so much damage!
Barrage by Haxel. Can it follow it up? The halt, the fade, I should say, comes out from Sweden. Epps will survive another day. But for how much longer is the question as the halt's going to be pulling them together. Gravitic Flux now forced out by Sweden. Elevo trying to clutch this one for his team, but another clutch Badosin sleep will set up that kill there onto Urki, and South Korea push forward.
I gotta say, the comms are so clean from South Korea. Mano, every single halt is comboed with another ability. And that doesn't even have to be another ability. It can just be direct hits from Architect or Haxel as well. They aren't playing a meta composition, but the teamwork involved here is still very, very good. Mano's halts constantly getting value, more so than any Orisa that I've seen so far in this tournament.
Supercharger laid down, the shield. Sweden tried to play aggressively. They're moving forward now. A lot of damage being pumped into them, including
another halt.
The Dragon Strike. The halt pulls them into it. And this is what will separate the great teams from the elites. If you're able to consistently set up your halts with a lot of abilities, comboing it up, whether it's a Dragon Strike, a punch, and accretion, you will eventually win these team fights out over some of these teams.
And this seems a lot like a scrim now for Team South Korea.
Oh,
another halt!
My word.
Halt into the barrage. They're so good at predicting the pathing from Sweden. They knew they were all coming out of the left-hand side, and Haxel finishes them off with ease.
Yep, Haxel, this guy, a phenomenal player. Overwatch League Grand Finalists, and South Korea are just slowly but surely pushing this one in. This war of attrition, if you will, on the point is slowly going the way of this giant sieging machine known as South Korea, and they are going to be able to complete King's Row in 2 minutes, 14 seconds on the clock. That's what they've got to work with.
And I'm going to be honest with you, Bren, if we see South Korea dominate, I'd love to see it with this kind of style and panache. They are just rolling through Team Sweden, but in the most beautiful, artistic way. They are comboing abilities, playing such high-skill heroes like the Hanzo, like the Pharah. This is, I would argue, more entertaining than watching Double Shield with Doomfist and just kind of plowing through teams.
Yeah, hard to argue against that.
I want to see it with a little bit of garnish, you know?
Sure.
Give me the Haxel Pharah, give me the Architect Pharah.
You know what this reminds me of?
Give me the Carpe Pharah. No, wait, maybe not.
Maybe not a Carpe Pharah, but I mean, I'm sure it would still be actually very serviceable. What it reminds me of is an earlier South Korean team that we saw in the World Cup in 2016 with an almost completely different cast. In fact, I think a completely different cast.
Yeah, I don't think there was a single player there.
But they were just styling on their opponents at the time.
Oh, they had the nano-boosted Symmetra.
Nano-boosted Symmetra strategies, all sorts. It feels like we're getting little hints of that, little whispers of an old South Korean team that are just so good, they're able to style on their opponents with these suboptimal competition or compositions.
And then they just donate a win to France, just to be kind.
Yeah, I mean, listen, without seeing the game, we can't really comment on it.
No, exactly.
We don't know the circumstances of what happened, but it looks like Snillo wants to try his luck for an early pick here onto one of the members of South Korea.
It's possible that they just try and go for a double sniper approach and try and run it through. Double sniper is pretty effective on King's Row. You wouldn't normally run it, but with what South Korea have been going for, without that second shield from the Sigma, the double snipers are much more effective.
Halt comes up, headshot, damage boost, not even a headshot. It's the body shot with the rest of the spam damage. That's an El Clasico move right there. We see that quite often early on in Overwatch's lifespan. It's rare for them to be able to get a pick like that.
Yep, and now switching over to the Reaper Doomfist has so much tempo. They are just going to charge their way in, looking for a pick on Haxel, force out the ice block.
Yep, baits it out with the punch.
And Gustav has just gone on a 1v1 with Architect and ruined him on the high ground.
Gustav is mental. He's been taking 1v1s this entire game. And this is going to be a very quick point by Sweden. Straight off the back of that very cheeky play. The Holt body shot there onto Mano, taking him out. When you lose your Orisa that early on, the fight is almost always going to be won.
And you've got to wonder a little bit why the Orisas are not utilizing their Fortify when they do get halted. That's kind of a classic of these double sniper metas, or the halt hook, or the ice pick, or whatever meta you're in where the halt hooks and halt ability combos are reasonable. You normally see the Orysas use, another clutch sleep from Badosin.
Badosin has
He's
been
so good.
Not only with his sleeps though, the bio-nades have also been on point. He's been connecting them on the tank line every single time, and it allows South Korea to do just this. They're bullying enemy teams right now. Sweden just getting pushed into the choke point, into their spawn, if you will.
Yeah, the Mei Hanzo, we are now looking at a composition that was very successful back in Stage 4 of the Overwatch League. The idea is that you can wall people off and get combos with your Halt hook, and the damage and pick potential from Architect is enormous. The way to counter this is the double shield, but instead elevates on the Diva.
Another Bionade onto Ebbs. The Mei Ice Wall is going to be causing a bit of damage mitigation, slows down Sweden. Now we start to see the Coalescences coming out as Sweden try and take this fight. The Immortality Field will fall. Architect finds a cheeky little pick, and Mano follows it up as well. And just like that, as easily as it is to say, they clean up this team fight and win it once again. And I gotta say, can we expect anything less from South Korea at this point?
I don't think so.
A masterclass performance.
It really is. It's incredible to watch them utilize compositions that aren't considered meta at the moment and still destroy just via their individual skill and teamwork. Team Sweden, though, I'm not a big fan of this Elevote Diva pick. I don't really know what it's trying to do. Maybe it's to contest Architect on the high ground or something like that. Try and stop the flanks. But I think you need the second shield.
They've been struggling a lot with these halts, I will say.
Yeah. Well, but imagine what the shield does for you. The shield can block off Architect's sight lines, but it can also stop Haxal's freezing, because freezing doesn't go through a shield. And if you push past the Orisa shield, you then have another one to block it. So it kind of soft counters the Mei a little bit as well, which is why we stopped seeing this ice pick composition where it's the Mei with a sniper in the Overwatch League Grand Finals and playoffs.
Mei Wall going to be used defensively by South Korea.
Huge Bionade! 3
Initiation
players!
To the backline, Superchargers laid down, but you are right, Josh, it's a huge Bionade. Sweden forced to temper their aggression a little bit. And South Korea have laid down their own Supercharger. Neither team wants to push this one, because they know that South Korea has the advantage.
Okay. I mean, I don't know how Gustav died there. I think he just got a lot of damage, a lot of spam damage on him at the same time. This Blizzard is available whenever Sweden push. The emphasis is very much on them. They've got 3 minutes to crack this choke point, and at the moment, it's not looking pretty.
And South Korea definitely feel like a cornered bear, if you will. This team is angry that they were able to
They're a bear in a china shop.
Point. If they lost the first point like this, I mean, look at how dominant they are right now. The Dragon Strike will come out. Choi Hyobin almost falls, gets frozen up, cancels the breather. The nano boost being committed onto him. Choi will not die. And now it's his turn to strike back. Gets the hook off, but my word, I mean, what more do you want me to say of this game?
The peel is just phenomenal from South Korea.
Choi Hyobin went down
so good
to 57 HP, I believe. That was the lowest point, and he was brought all the way back up. Everything was committed for him. Everything.
They do not leave a man behind. IDK and Badosin shoving so many heals into Choi Hyobin there, making sure that he stays alive. Yes, they utilized ultimates, but Sweden did as well. They used their Blizzard and both support ults for that fight.
Another Bionade as well from Badosin. It connects onto 3 of them. Fades away. Dragon Strike comes out, gets 8 by Elevo. Okay, the Diva coming in clutch a little bit there. Now we see Choi Hyobin using the whole hog, pushing them back. But it matters not. The Death Blossom as well.
Sleep onto
Snillo! Badosin as well with a clutch sleep. But this is Team Sweden's best opportunity. Gustav coming up with the goods here. They move into the backline. Choi is just going to stall out the point. But it will be a reset now for South Korea. And Sweden, they finally break out of this choke point. But it took them a lot of time.
It took them so long. And South Korea can make any change they want here to their composition, but it looks like they're sticking to the Mei Hanzo. Okay, but now moving Choi Hyobin over to the Diva. Now, Choi Hyobin is just a world-class Diva. For my money, easily top 2 alongside Fury.
Interesting changes across the board here.
Why he's chosen that hero, who knows?
Can you tell me?
No. It's
just
not the best hero.
My guess, but we'll see. As the Coalescence from Epps will lead in the charge for Sweden. It's a lot of heals, and Haxal will be brought down by the damage aspect of it. It's called Coalescence for a reason, but Architect, you thought you were winning this team fight? Not quite. He comes back in, 2 quick headshots. Lolcic gets taken down as well. And my word, I mean, I'm at a loss for words, really. It feels like South Korea are on another plane of existence compared to a lot of the teams in this tournament.
Yeah, they're playing with their food at this point for sure. I mean, the Choyobin switch onto D.Va could be just so that they have a somewhat mirrored composition, but the supports and the DPS are a little bit different. You know, maybe that's a little bit of styling that they want to do. You can play D.Va, we can play D.Va.
I'll be honest,
but
Josh.
also, the only thing it really shuts down is Snillo's Death Blossoms, and they haven't been a problem anyway, so
Yeah.
I think they're just playing with their food.
Yep, Supercharger. It's going to come out. The Dragon Strike, of course, not going to be doing any damage to it, but used to just basically split off Sweden and their approach. They move back around the corner. The Blizzard now comes out. Haxel follows up with his own. Counteracts it. Lulsish using his own Supercharger, but gets removed out of the fight.
3 players frozen in the middle of Haxal's Blizzard, but they're still dying for
Still
South Korea.
winnable right now for Sweden. Still clutching in the backline. Picks up 2 kills. Regardless of the fact that South Korea committed so many ultimates. We see Snillo using the Death Blossom. Quite literally a zoning Death Blossom such that Sweden can just cap this one freely.
And Urki's hitting a couple of shots there to clean up players. Architect and IDK fall. That's a full reset for South Korea. Choyobin now back onto the Roadhog, which is a pick that makes a little more sense for me. Sweden can try and continue some of this aggression now that Elevote's got his mech back. And Gustav's going to have the sound barrier. Now, it's very different to what you normally see where teams are wanting to save sound barrier for the Flux. They can just play aggressive with this, but Snillo dies immediately. That's your main source of damage.
Yep, hooked combo. Choi brings him down. Actually, a solo kill. Immortality Field will keep Choi Hyobin alive for the time being, but as he gets taken down, so does he. And Sweden have been given an opening now. Another humongous Bionade. Lulsish falling down to just a sliver of HP, frozen up, taken out of the fight. And oh my word, Architect, it's just brutal to watch this.
He's an animal. He never misses shots. Architect is somebody that was praised a lot when he first came into the league for the San Francisco Shock, but he's just found the beginning of his peak to power, it seems.
And Urki is actually being staggered on the Mei.
That's nuts.
This is just a dominant. How many more times can we use the word dominance in a cast?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's the slow
I had
roll
to catch
here.
myself there because it seems to be the only word that can describe this team right now. Last ditch effort here for Team Sweden to try and win out this set. Dragon Strike will split them up. Coalescence by Sweden will not find any value. Now Architect, free reign. Gonna get the D-Mech onto Elevote. The kills follow up as well. We see teams being frozen as the Blizzards are gonna get exchanged here. Overtime on the cart. Who is even there to touch it? Gustav, the only player remaining, it feels like. And that is going to be Team Sweden losing map number 2. South Korea coming out on top. Unbelievable thus far. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, South Korea may have took their foot off the gas pedal a little bit when they were playing against France, but this is nothing of the sort. This is just outrageous dominance over Sweden.
Well, moving forward, we do have to play all 3 maps in these sets because it's a round-robin group format for the first day of BlizzCon. I was about to say first day of the Overwatch World Cup. Not quite the preliminary rounds that we did, but it is the first day indeed of BlizzCon, and they have to play this round-robin group system. They're going to try and accrue wins against one another. The teams battle each other in a battle royale format, if you will. And at the end of the day, only 3 teams are going to be qualifying for tomorrow in each group, which means 6 teams moving forward for the tournament on the final day on the Saturday. South Korea come out with another win on top.
Yeah.
They needed it, to be fair, after the loss to France.
Very strange. We were looking at Group A and we were saying this is an absolutely stacked group. But the reason that we said that was not because France was in it. It was because USA were in there, because Team South Korea were in there, because the United Kingdom as well were in that group, and also Netherlands, who've been doing a very decent job kind of wiggling their way in.
A subtle team, a dark horse candidate, and this is something that a lot of teams have been saying, and they proved it as well in the preliminary rounds with a great upset against Finland, and really started to perform incredibly well as the series has progressed, and as a team, actually, surprising us. A couple of star players that have come up out of the Netherlands, Brusen.
Yes.
We need to talk about him.
He had a great
He's
performance
really been impressing. And we'll see if they're capable of taking some wins against some of these elite teams that are also in their group.
Now, I will tell you, Bren, that I lied to you. The Netherlands are not in Group A. They're actually in Group B.
Thank you.
It's France and Sweden that are in Group A.
Okay.
That
Well,
was just a brain
I'll tell you
aberration
what,
on my
Josh,
point.
mistakes happen, and
They
we're
do.
all human.
That's true. So is Team
So-
Sweden.
And that's why they lost.
Yes,
Because you
making it.
need to be a robot to be South Korea. You need to be a
need to
deep
be
mind AI, I'm telling you.
Yeah, we saw that announcement in the opening ceremony that they have the deep mind
You can play
AI
against
for
deep mind
StarCraft.
AI on StarCraft, yeah.
That's
so you
nuts.
can, if you're here at BlizzCon, you can go down to the StarCraft area, you can play against AI that's been basically learning through whatever,
Yeah.
machine learning algorithms,
Yeah, machine learning.
how to play StarCraft, and I guarantee you will not win. Because, I mean, the machine overlords, they're coming for us. Listen.
Yep. First they came for chess, and I did not cry out. Then they came for, I don't know, what was next?
Well, I don't know, but I was going to say it's literally the law of Overwatch.
I guess.
The law of Overwatch is
that the
AI,
Omnics
rise up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
so
why would Blizzard start this? Maybe they're really just telling the future.
they are, you know, they're storytellers at the end of the day. It's an entertaining, epic tale, just
Sure.
a little bit before its time.
Yeah, and they actually just want to start the whole
Yeah.
revolution by introducing
Sure.
DeepMind to StarCraft.
Yeah, why
Well,
not?
Thank you. Yeah, let's make it learn a game where literally humans are fighting against Omnics.
Now, the next map that we're going to see,
Do you want to guess again?
no, not really. I'd like to know it for sure. But it's Gibraltar.
Well, there you go.
Holy moly. Probably going to start to see some more wacky stuff coming out
I
as well.
definitely think so. I love Gibraltar because although you can run tanky compositions, double shield compositions, this kind of stuff, generally speaking, it lends itself to snipers, it lends itself to dive compositions, because it has a lot of high ground that you can play on. Even way back in the day when dive was used, sometimes Tracer was substituted out just because she doesn't really have the ability to get onto high ground. It's a very vertical map, and we'll see what treasures South Korea have for us, especially because they've subbed back in Carpe.
Yep.
Haxal out, Carpe in. Do we get to see the legendary Carpe Widowmaker?
I'll take it, you know.
I certainly
The
would.
Carpe Widowmaker any day of the week. I was speaking to him earlier. He was at the Philadelphia Fusion House, which I am currently
Squatting
staying at.
in.
We're both staying at,
Yes,
actually.
we're currently squatting in the
Currently
Philadelphia
squatting in the Philadelphia Fusion House. I
Making podcasts and things.
had a little chat to him, and he said 1v1 me, and I was very scared. Didn't want to do it.
Yeah, there's only some players that Bren will 1v1.
Yep.
Those he has no respect
Main
for.
tanks. People who don't play Widowmaker, I don't know. Anyway, Team Sweden with an opportunity to get a map from South Korea. They can't win the set, but they can make their scoreline a little bit more convincing, and it does help them out. Any maps you take away from South Korea are going to help you out, because let's be honest here, a lot of teams are probably going to get 3-0'd by them. Carpe, oh, he's moving around the flank here, goes for the headshot, will not hit it, gets taken out by Urki. That is complete disrespect towards the enemy Farah.
It absolutely is. Carpe should not be able to find value against this kind of composition. When you've got...
Okay.
He destroys Urki just as he comes towards him. And with the Farah down and Gustav not in a position to resurrect, Team Sweden have to rotate.
He shut you up, didn't he?
Well, there really isn't any way that a Widowmaker should be able to find value there, because the Batiste can spam from long range behind shields, the Bastion can spam from long range, Urki should be able to play in sightlines that are safe and just stay alive against Architect and Carpe.
Holt comes up, yoinks him up. It's going to be Rat who's subbed in. Ends up getting the pick down to IDK. Lack of Mercy means no more healing, no more damage boost. Another Holt comes out. Architects will delete the Immortality Field, and now that will prompt the Gravitic Flux, and the kills will just flow in off the back of it. Sweden
have taken a defensive location at the bottom of that staircase, but South Korea flanked all the way behind them. Carpe and Choyobin up on the high ground as we see Architect in the server room destroying folks. They just took space and took position very well, created a bunch of different sightlines, some of them behind Team Sweden, and came in for the flank. The Amp Matrix, cool, but it doesn't face all directions.
Raj comes out optimistic from Architect, gets shut down in the end.
Straight into an Immortality Field as well, as Rat collects 2.
Yeah, Rat with those 2 kills now sets Sweden up for a better defense than on the low ground. They're going to start to try and rotate up onto the high ground, onto one of the catwalks, potentially. But, of course, Carpe has the wall hacks ready and waiting. Accretion just about misses him. Carpe needs to be careful here. He doesn't want to get caught out of position, but he's going for the headshot. And who is it that needs to show respect here?
Oh, the ice block. He's playing a game of chicken there with Urki.
Carpe being chased down. Ring around the rosies, Gustav!
You can't be facing that with your pistol out, Gustav. You gotta put more respect on Carpe's name.
Why would you think that you could take that 1v1 against Carpe? Absolutely brutal, and that sets up South Korea to just waltz all over them onto the point. Again, the rockets from Architect will clean up the rest of the action that's being dealt. And South Korea look like they are going to be getting, honestly, a world record pace on Gibraltar.
Yeah, I think Sweden need to change their team comp. They need to go to a May Reaper or a Doomfist Reaper. They have to play more aggressive than this.
Big Bionade comes out onto the Swedish tank line again. Counteracted onto South Korea. Now we start to see the superchargers being unloaded, unpacked. Sweden force South Korea to back off around the corner. They're only buying a little bit of time, but here comes the engage. Architect, the nano boost, the barrage! He finds one kill onto Rat. Will not find any more, but Carpe is perfectly happy to clean up the rest of the players with these long sight lines, able to collect a kill here, there, and everywhere.
Enormous plays from Architect. Mano was so weak. They were focused on killing the tank line, but Choyobin runs in and buys space with his kinetic grasp. And then a nano-boosted Architect cleans everyone off the field. Epps not quite quick enough with the immortality. And now full-scale swaps for Sweden. They keep Erky because he has the Blizzard, but change both of their supports and Rat onto the McCree.
Gravitic Flux comes up. The kinetic grasp will stop one of the shots from Carpe, but you can't stop all of them. 2 kills, quick on the mark. Carpe finds the shots true. And will he find a third? He's just tracking him slowly. Another halt comes out from Mano here. Gonna go for the air shot. Straight up into the air. Misses one, but at this point, he has complete control over every single aspect of the map. Geography, sight lines, mechanical ability. He's got it all on the wraps.
It's just a shooting gallery for both Architect and Carpe here. Team Sweden, they were never able to step up to the tempo of South Korea. Instead, they sat back the entire time, tried to play the Bastion, and weren't quick enough with rotations. You need to play a high-tempo comp into South Korea if they're trying to flex on you with a Widowmaker. You got to get up in their face, play the Mei, play the Reaper, throw a Doomfist in there. Play dive, play anything, but don't just sit back. You got to grab the game by the horns.
Opening ceremony. There was a disclaimer for children to potentially leave the scene for the Diablo trailer that came out.
Was it for the Diablo trailer?
The Diablo 4 trailer, yeah.
I don't think it was.
May have been for this game.
I think it was for this game.
In hindsight, may have been for this game because it has been brutal. I'm looking at Johnny right now on the main stage, and
he's crumpled.
He's crumpled.
He's folded.
Yep, tears down his shirt.
The man is bent in half, sobbing.
He went from 6'8" down to 3'4".
Oh, he's half the man he used to be. Team South Korea just absolutely stomping this one. I don't know whether they got a lecture from Krusty after that loss to France, or whether they just decided to turn it up here against Sweden. But this is every single bit the match we thought it was going to be.
Bit of a brutal one at that. I mean, Krusty is a scary figure if you've got him coaching.
He's authoritative.
He is.
He demands respect.
You need that in a coach, though. You do need that in a coach. Someone who the players are going to be respecting in and out.
And you think about it, Krusty, the best coach that Overwatch has ever seen, now has South Korea's first loss on his record. He can't be happy about that.
No, he can't be, actually. He'll be shouting at them behind the scenes. We'll see, though. Bionade, once again, comes flying from South Korea. The hole comes up into the accretion, and that's a kill onto Architect. Actually taken out by Epps with the damage boost. This gives Erky a bit of space. The Resurrect now committed, though. Push back. Carpe kills Gustav. I have no idea how. He's taking these long flanks around. Oh! And another one for him. I mean, he's just collecting them at this point. They're like trading cards.
Beautiful little pick, but now they have to fight in the lower area, and really Carpe can't get much done. But Dawson taken down, but Mano trades. This is still looking much better for South Korea.
Yep.
But Carpe's got to be a little careful.
Oh, I mean, Alamo's just staggering himself at this point. I mean, here's the thing, when Carpe's on Widowmaker, it's a scary prospect.
It certainly is. Erky is going to know where he is, though. Those sonic arrows will allow them to scout out Carpe and have Elevo wall him off with the Sigma shield. And Rat will be looking to help his team pick off the Farah Mercy. Or pick off the Roadhog, perhaps, because a hack there is also incredibly useful.
My word.
But you've just got to respect the sight lines.
Yep. I mean, it's been so long that since we've seen a Widowmaker-esque meta. Feels like maybe some of these players have forgotten how to play into it. Carpe, every single time he gets his first picks, look at this, and then one onto Lulsish, just a stagger kill. Rat at this point trying to farm up the EMP. This is going to be one of the win conditions for Sweden. And he goes down, but I believe they have a Resurrect available.
Yeah, Resurrect comes out immediately. Even if they hadn't burnt the Resurrect there, Carpe would be back in the fight by the time it devolved to a point where he could have an impact anyway. The ult's not even making a difference in this match. I don't really think we've talked about the ultimates that much over the course of Gibraltar. It's just been about South Korea brutalizing Sweden with their teamwork.
It's about to get
and
even more
individual
brutal,
ability.
Josh. Big Bayonet comes in and it's set targeted up for the big one. Barrage finds 1 kill onto Urki. They are trapped like chickens.
Like rats in a barrel.
Like rats in a barrel. Chickens in a coop.
Sure. Chicken in the coop, the fox is in. I'll help you with the metaphors.
God bless you.
Oh, poor Elevo.
Okay, now.
Oh,
Yeah.
poor Elevo.
And these staggers just make it even more brutal. I mean, they could have staggered that further
Yeah.
if they wanted to.
Could have gone even further.
That was mercy.
Could have got the sleep
That was
on him. Could have
merciful
got another boop.
by South Korea. They get another kill onto Rat as well.
And Rat still
How-
has not
how?
built up this first
How
EMP.
did they find a kill onto Rat there? We are, what is this, 2.5 minutes into this round?
Yeah, yeah.
First EMP. Don't quite know what to expect.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for them to even follow up on an EMP because they have to drag South Korea to the low ground and then get an EMP off without losing anybody.
Supercharger from both teams now traded. EMP comes out, connects onto a few of them.
But it only hits 2 and they're
No
on the high ground
follow-up.
anyway!
No follow-up whatsoever.
Oh, no, Team Sweden.
And it looks like they are officially entering Boomville. Population 6. Sweden are desperate. They are flanking all the way around. Mano is behind. Gonna get hacked up here. Elevo gonna try and push into him with the defense matrix, trying to allow his team to get the kill. Big Bionade there onto Troy. Troy should fall here.
Oh,
my God.
And they use him as bait for an insane barrage as well. You've got to be quicker on the mark. You've got to wake up early in the morning to catch South Korea napping.
Yep. It's just not gonna work. But at the end of the day, you gotta try this. You gotta try these little strats, these little cheese techniques. Flanking around, Carpe down to 1 HP.
Literal 1 HP against the double sniper now coming out from Team Sweden. Epps as well moving over to the Zen. They are just looking for outrageous
Oh
damage.
my word, you have to respect the man. But it's hard to when he's taking these wide flanks. He is dominant. And nobody was there to touch the point. That is a brutal end to the series.
Yep, an absolute slapping around.
Look at the Sweden. I mean, what is that? 4 smiles. That's it. That's probably going to be 0 at this point.
Yeah, no smiles on the face of Team Sweden right now. They cannot be happy about that performance, but they probably weren't expecting anything in that match.
A map win would have been nice.
I mean,
a map win would have been good
it
for
would
the
have been lovely,
differential.
but they weren't even close. There was
Yeah.
not one map where they were
It's
close
hard.
to beating South Korea.
So hard.
South Korea came out fighting, running compositions that are not meta at the moment, but with their sublime teamwork, syncing up the halts, rotating abilities around, Badosin peeling and getting sleep darts
Yeah.
off, and an insane individual skill between all of those players, they're just able to make it work.
They look set to take the grand finals once again this year.
Yeah.
They look like the prime candidate, but we all knew this coming in to the World Cup, of course. I mean, South Korea, coached by Krusty.
Yep.
Krusty, if you don't know who he is, he actually coached I should
The
say
San
San Francisco
Francisco
Shock. I
Shock.
was about to say South Korea.
He does that as well.
He does that now, yeah. And they are just going an absolute tear. In the meantime, we are going to be taking a short break on this channel. When we come back, it will not be us. I believe it's going to be Uber and Mr. X.
Yep.
So, you know, the casual casters, what do you want to call us? I mean, should we give up a nickname for ourselves?
Give ourselves a nickname.
Yeah. The Papega Platoon. I don't know what you want from us. But it's going to be a different casting pair. We're going to be switching over to some other streams as well and bringing the cast elsewhere on another channel, another match. And I believe it may be USA versus the United Kingdom.
Certainly could be. USA versus United
yeah.
Kingdom might be coming up right now. If so, we're the
That's
ones
what
to
you don't
cover
want to
it.
miss.
Yeah.
You do not want to miss that.
We're going to grab that flag. We're going to grab the other flag.
That's actually
Yeah, this is
the
ours
Australian
now.
flag.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, they put this here for Mitch.
Oh, I didn't even realize
It's
I'm
supposed
actually...
to signify like the casting pairs. So
Is it?
yeah,
Is Matt just an honorary Australian now?
he is. Yeah, I mean he's
I
married
guess.
to one.
Aye.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Well, there you go. Half Australian, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we will see you on the other side.